Hey guys, welcome to the studio. Today is Sunday. This means a shorter duration today here in the studio. And I thought, let's talk about something important and explain something important and give you some tips to master the most important when it comes to music production. And that is music itself. As you know, once per week I get songs by other people, like you guys send me songs, I listen to them and give feedback. And sometimes, actually very often, I listen to all of these demos that are also for my label, and they're just wrong, like just musically wrong. Music has certain rules, and these rules are not man-made. These rules are just by, you listen to a chord, and if there are like 5 wrong notes in there, it clashes, it hurts. Or the bass line plays a note, the chords play something else, it just clashes. And that's very embarrassing and shows that you have zero skill. But for those people that right now have zero skill, I also started with the zero music theory skill. For these kind of people, I will like give you sneaky tips and tricks, so you actually don't have to learn the nerdy, annoying music theory, but you will still be able to make music so that no one will hear that you actually don't know what you're doing. So would you follow me? First up, we will need a keyboard, and they're white and black keys. That's how basic we're starting. You can play all of the black keys. You can make an entire song, and that's like my #1 tip. If you like, you can forget everything else I will teach you in this video. Just remember just the black keys. You can play a bass line that uses this key right here. Just play whatever you want, and then you can play a chord that consists, I don't know, of these 3 black keys, or maybe these 3, or just those 2, or maybe, I don't know, all of them. That's possible. It will not clash. Will it sound very interesting and smart? Probably not, but it won't clash. It's not embarrassing. So that's my #1 tip. Just use the black keys. Tip #2 is pretty much the same thing, but a little more complicated, because you cannot make every single song you will ever produce just with black keys. That's very boring. But you can use the same system. The black keys are 5. It's called a pentatonic 5. And just Google for pentatonics, and it will let you know which of the keys are part of this group of 5. So for example, the C major pentatonic is C, D, E, G, A, and C again. So just F and B are 2 you're not using, and then you just use the white keys. And you can again do whatever you want. You just Google it, and you just need to remember which not to use, and then you can again do whatever you want. A lot of people actually use that to jam. The next one really drives me crazy, because I hear it so often. People are just picking random loops, random percussion, and play it to something melodic. And it just clashes, because kicks, percussions, everything has a tone to it. They're tonal. Not always, but most of the time. And you have to check them. You have to put them in key. You have to pitch them up or down. So the simplest method to check is just to, let's, for example, take the kick right here in this example. Open up Analyzer, span, it's for free, and just play it. And you can now see that the peak of this kick right here is right around 44 Hertz, which results in an F, more or less. Like, you can also fine pitch it to really get it there. For kicks, it's not so important. You can sometimes break the rule, or you can put the percussion in maybe the root note of your key. Let's say you're picking the C major pentatonic, and you put your kick also in C. You can also use something that is +3, so 3 notes up, or 5 or 7. That usually helps and works. And then just listen. That's the key thing, especially if you're not like music theory trained. You need to listen. Every human being has like a natural understanding of things clashing, not clashing, but you have to listen for it. So if you hear something sticking out, something colliding with everything else, change it. Just like 1 semitone up, 2, 3, 5, 7, whatever, and see if it works better. You should be able to hear that. And if not, then just listen for these kind of things and train your ear. Because if you're not musically trained and you don't know music theory, like at least hearing if it's wrong will already help you a lot. Because then there are not too many options. You just shift it up and down and just wait until it works. Even more important is what kind of elements have to go into a song. Because sometimes people make it musically right, but then it still clashes because there are just too many things in there. So most songs, and this is true for all like pop, EDM, urban, like all of the stuff you hear on the radio, all of the stuff you hear in clubs, it's pretty simple. Very straight and simple drums, percussions usually to drive things a little, and the bass is usually just like one note. It's never 2, 3 notes playing at the same time. It's a monophonic element. It's really just one thing playing at a time, and then chords on top. Again, for EDM, just pick your pentatonic and play 3, and then switch to 3 other, and just see and hear if it sounds good. Usually staying closer together, like having less change. Maybe just changing one note. Let's say you press these 3, changing to these 3 makes more sense than just jumping down to 3 completely new ones. So keep it close together. And we could now start with like which chords have to follow which kind of chords. But again, I want to keep it very, very, very simple, very not music theory like. I think for most electronic dance music, following certain patterns is not really necessary. Like usually chords, you build up tension and release tension again, sometimes make things clash on purpose and then again not, to like have more emotion in there. But electronic dance music is more about sound, about the sonics, about like the special sound that just sounds so satisfying. And what it's playing is not that important anymore. And once you got your bass, your kick drum, your percussive elements, like especially tech house, for example, it's very percussion heavy. It's just like loops. Chords aren't really that necessary, but again, you can play very simple ones. You add a main melody. And here again, just if you don't know anything about music theory, just try it out. Just like draw MIDI in, listen to it, sounds weird, move it a little. I think just by accident, you'll come up with melodies that are good enough. Again, also here, keep everything close together. Main melodies usually mimic and replace, especially in instrumental music, the human voice. And usually most singers cover like 2 octaves, good ones, 3 or 4, but like most songs are easy. Most songs, like, I don't know, I think all Chainsmokers songs just use like 3 notes that are right next to each other, at least in the chorus. And if you want to take it to the next level and be more serious about music production, in my honest opinion, there is no way around music theory. This video is for people that want to produce music but never learn to play an instrument. I never learned to play an instrument. I actually started just using black keys. Like my first 20 songs, just black keys, very boring musically. But over the years I learned it. Like my music theory knowledge is pretty good. And my playing skills, especially now during COVID, I extended. I started playing more so that I can actually play the stuff that I usually draw in with MIDI. It's important. Eventually, you'll have to learn it. And it's actually fun, because I really don't want anyone out there that is interested in music production to not start it just because they can't play an instrument and don't have a clue about music theory. So just, again, get started. You'll learn everything you'll need. Eventually, I did the same. I learned everything eventually. And now this is my full-time job, making music. Although I never really learned music theory and learned how to play an instrument. It's possible, especially when you're doing electronic music. Breaks a whole lot of rules, but yeah. The end result counts. If you like it, you'll find someone else that will like it and eventually advance. So thanks a lot for watching. Let me know in the comments if any of these tips are new to you, and if you have any tips for everyone else, like stuff that helps you to make music without really knowing how to play anything. Anyways, thanks a lot for watching. Tomorrow, back here in the studio. Sign out.